Righto, gents. How are we? You know, the Eiffel Tower isn't just a position you try your best mate and a classy bird after a couple of beers. No. It's actually an awe-inspiring iron beauty located in the historically significant area of Champ de Mars in Paris. Right, so the Eiffel Tower was named after Gustave Eiffel, mainly because it was his company that designed and constructed the thing. However, in terms of the actual people that designed it though, well, that goes to Maurice Kekler and Emile Nouguier. These two lads worked for Gustave, and in my opinion, the Kekler-Nouguier Tower has a damn fine ring to it. Don't you think? Before we get into the nitty-gritty of its construction, do you want to know why they built it? Well, they had a World Fair happening in 1889, and considering it was also the 100th year anniversary of the French Revolution, the homies saw it fit to create something to stun the world. And that's how the plan for the 300-meter tall tower came about. Well, you see, there were many ideas. However, this was the one that was chosen. Kekler, in an original sketch, depicted the tower as, and I quote minus the accent, a great pylon consisting of 4 lattice girders, standing apart at the base, coming together at the top, joined together by metal trusses at regular intervals. Well, we can all see how that came to fruition, can't we? And this lattice stunner was unveiled to the world in 1889, the 100th year anniversary of the French Revolution, at the Exposition Universelle, or the Universal Exhibition of 1889. You see, the golden shovel commenced on the 26th of January 1887. It only took them 2 years, 2 months, and 5 days to finish it. It's incredibly quick, and soon enough you'll find out why. So, the pieces that made up the tower were originally prefabricated. A lot of it was just assembled on site. This required a ridiculous amount of engineering. You had to ensure each piece was accurate. It was sort of like a real-life Lego set, except instead of bricks it was trusses, rivets, and girders. 150 to 300 workers were on site assembling this thing. And what held it all together? Well, the rivets. And what's particularly cool about these rivets is that they were thermally assembled, meaning that these bad boys contract when cold, making whatever 2 pieces of metal it was joining hella tight. The tower was really built in 4 distinct phases. Not really, but it's how I'm able to understand how it was built. You had your foundations. Then you had the first level. Then you had levels 2 and 3. This also includes the cupola, the little dome thing up on top. Finally, you had the 5 elevators. So, firstly, you had the 4 foundations for the tower. The 2 foundations that faced the Champ de Mars side were chillin'. The ground was good and stable for them. No stress. The other 2 foundations facing the Seine posed a bit of an issue because the bitch was wet. The ground was soft. To work around this to get to stronger ground well below the riverbed, they had the boys in a metal box. This was injected with compressed air. This allowed them to get the foundations on the level they needed it to be. Hardest part was now done. They got the foundations complete. It's all set, it's all cruisy. The next challenge was getting the legs. Well, the legs were cantilevered at first, so they just sort of were put in the foundation and it was at an incline. Scaffolding was later set up to help support them. They had to make sure everything lined up perfectly for the girders. After navigating this pesky little challenge, they had completed the first level. It was fantastic. You can see it in the photo here of what it looked like during the foundations. and then the first level being done. Now things started to really ramp up. You know, they built the tower vertically with the pieces, from the bottom up. The scaffolding and use of a crane allowed the workers to build what they needed to all the way up, through to the second and third levels, including the cupola too. Following the construction, you had 5 elevators. At this time, these were state of the art. You had 4 of them on the bottom legs. These were to go up to the first and second floors. Then you had a single vertical hydraulic elevator catering to floors 2 and 3. I know this probably doesn't sound all that special, but we weren't even in the 20th century when this came about. It's been well over 100 years since this technology has emerged. It was through masterful engineering and construction methodology that everything was able to be completed so quickly and so accurately. Alright. We know how they built it, but what materials did they use? I swear to God, this is my favorite part. You guys just don't realize how much material it truly takes to build something, how much wastage occurs. It's insane. I'm currently working on a project where we're installing stormwater drainage, and I just had to order well over 2,000 to 3,000 pieces off Rio for these pits. Alright, so what are we working with? Not counting the foundations, of course. 2.5 million rivets, 7.3 tons of iron, 60 tons of paint, and this isn't the paint you sniff. Well, on occasion. And then you've got 5 elevators. And we already know at the time, these were the best in the world. They were navigating a couple of risks when trying to build it. Well, at the time, it was a tall motherfucker. The concerns were off the wind. However, as the homie Gustave said, no worries mate, you'll be right. Essentially, the design of the Eiffel Tower makes it incredibly resistant to wind. And that's because the curves of the tower direct the wind downward. Alright, so now we've got the risk and the challenges of navigating the foundations on this NS side, but we all know how they work that out. And lastly, we get to the fact that hella people thought it was ugly. I mean, they had petitions about it. At the time, the design was incredibly controversial, as it broke away from taste of French architecture. They were obviously wrong. In my opinion, I think it's beautiful. It's definitely a must-see. What we have here is history. It's a structure showing the transition of architectural tastes. And much like the women I date, this tower is tall, cold, and incredibly sturdy. See you guys in the next one.